The first thing the alien scouts noticed was not the fleet. It was the heartbeat. Deep inside the darkness of Vesper 9, something was pulsing. Slow. Heavy. Alive. Commander Vale stared at the tactical screen as another pulse rolled through the dead star. Vesper 9 had been dead for almost 6 centuries. No fusion. No radiation. No biological activity. Nothing. A star-shaped corpse floating silently at the edge of human space. Yet the sensor was registering a power fluctuation powerful enough to distort gravity across millions of kilometers. "Run the scan again," Vale whispered. The technician swallowed. "We already did." The screen suddenly filled with red markers. 1. 10. 100. Then thousands. Vale stood frozen. "What am I looking at?" The technician didn't answer. He couldn't. The sensors had discovered enormous artificial structures buried beneath the star's surface. Then one of them moved. The dead star cracked. Not like an explosion. Like a door opening. A massive section of black stellar material slowly separated, revealing something beneath it. Metal. Dark, scarred metal. A gigantic human warship emerged from the darkness. Its hull was unlike anything the aliens had ever seen. No bright engines. No communication lights. No insignia. Only thousands of narrow blue lights glowing across its surface like cold eyes. Vale's breathing stopped. Human. The word barely escaped his mouth. Then another ship emerged. And another. And another. The tactical display began filling with red markers until there was no empty space left. 8,000. The alien crew stared in horror. Humanity had hidden an entire fleet inside a dead star. For centuries. And nobody had known. Vale immediately transmitted the discovery to the Galactic Dominion. Within minutes, the Council received the footage. Some demanded an attack. Others demanded negotiations. But the Dominion's High Commander made the decision that would change the galaxy forever. He didn't ask why humanity had built the fleet. He didn't ask what the ships were designed to fight. He simply looked at the impossible armada and declared, "Humanity has been preparing for war." The Dominion fleet mobilized. Thousands of alien warships jumped into the system. Their weapons locked onto Vesper 9. Across the galaxy, emergency broadcasts announced that humanity had violated the Galactic Peace Accords. Earth received the ultimatum. Surrender the hidden fleet within 12 hours, or face total war. Inside Earth's command center, nobody spoke. Then Admiral Elias Mercer slowly looked toward the observation window. Far away, Vesper 9 appeared as nothing more than a tiny black point. He knew the aliens were making a terrible mistake. "They still don't understand," he said quietly. His officer turned. "Understand what?" Mercer looked at the incoming enemy fleet. That fleet wasn't built to attack them. Suddenly, every sensor on Earth began screaming. Something had just appeared beyond the outer edge of the galaxy. Something enormous. Something moving toward them. And for the first time in 400 years, the hidden fleet inside Vesper 9 received a message. "They're here." For 3 seconds, Admiral Elias Mercer simply stared at the message. "They're here." No coordinates. No explanation. No identification. Only those 2 words. Then every screen inside Earth's command center went black. Across the planet, satellites lost contact. Navigation systems froze. Communications collapsed into static. And above Earth, the stars began disappearing. 1. Then 5. Then dozens. Not because they were destroyed. Something was moving between them. Mercer stepped toward the command table. "Bring up the outer system telescope." The image appeared. At first, there was nothing. Then the darkness moved. A gigantic silhouette passed between distant stars, so enormous that Earth's computers couldn't calculate its dimensions. The room went silent. One officer whispered, "Is that a ship?" Mercer shook his head. No. He had seen the old classified recordings. He knew what was coming. But before he could explain, the Dominion fleet arrived. Thousands of alien warships surrounded Vesper 9. Their weapons illuminated the darkness, painting the dead star in red and orange. The aliens demanded immediate surrender. Mercer ignored them. Instead, he opened a sealed transmission recorded almost 4 centuries earlier. A much younger human scientist appeared on the screen. Behind him stood the first prototype ship of Project Ashfall. If you're watching this, the scientist said, then we failed to convince the galaxy. The recording continued. 387 years ago, we discovered something beyond the galactic rim. It wasn't an empire. It wasn't an invading fleet. The scientist paused. It was a pattern. The screen changed. Thousands of galaxies appeared. One by one, they vanished. The room became colder. Something has been moving through the universe, the scientist continued. It consumed stars. Then civilizations. Then entire regions of space. Mercer stopped the recording. Nobody spoke. One officer finally asked, why didn't humanity tell the Dominion? Mercer looked toward Vesper 9. We did. The officer stared at him. They laughed. Outside, the Dominion commander transmitted another warning. Humanity has 12 minutes to surrender the fleet. Mercer finally answered. His voice carried across every alien channel. You're ordering us to surrender the only fleet standing between you and extinction. The alien commander laughed. You expect us to believe that? Mercer looked at the tactical display. No. He turned away. You'll believe it soon. Then Vesper 9 trembled. The dead star's surface began splitting apart. Massive sections of stellar material peeled away, revealing thousands of human warships buried underneath. The Dominion fleet raised its weapons. But the human ships didn't target the aliens. Instead, every vessel turned toward deep space. Every engine ignited simultaneously. And for the first time, the aliens saw what the humans had been watching for centuries. A black wave was approaching from beyond the stars. Then the largest human battleship transmitted 6 words. Do not let it reach Earth. The Dominion fleet had come prepared to destroy humanity. Now, every alien weapon was pointed at something else. Something they couldn't see. The tactical display showed only empty space beyond Vesper 9. Then the stars began blinking out. One after another. A perfect line of darkness moved across the galaxy. The alien commander stared at the display. Distance. The sensor officer's hands trembled. Unknown. Size. Unknown. Speed. The officer slowly looked up. Sir, it's getting closer. A Dominion warship fired a long-range probe into the darkness. For 11 seconds, the signal traveled normally. Then it vanished. Not destroyed. Erased. Every alien on the bridge understood the difference. Whatever was approaching wasn't simply powerful. It was doing something their technology couldn't even measure. Admiral Mercer watched silently from the bridge of the human flagship, Eternity's Aegis. Open the old Ashfall channel, he ordered. A sealed communication link activated. Across thousands of human ships, ancient systems awakened. The fleet had been asleep for generations. Now, one by one, their weapons came online. But Mercer still refused to fire. The Dominion commander noticed. You have thousands of warships, he transmitted. Why aren't you attacking? Mercer answered calmly. Because those weapons aren't for you. The alien commander laughed nervously. You expect us to stand beside the species we just declared war on? Mercer looked through the bridge window. Behind the Dominion fleet, another star disappeared. I'm not asking you to stand beside us. He paused. I'm asking you to stand somewhere else. Then the darkness arrived. A shape emerged from the void. It wasn't a fleet. It was one enormous structure. Its outer shell was made of something that looked like black crystal, stretching across millions of kilometers. Around it floated the remains of stars. Entire planets had been reduced to glowing fragments and were slowly pulled toward its surface. The Dominion commander couldn't breathe. What is that? Mercer finally gave it a name. The Harvester. Across the human fleet, thousands of ships changed formation. Their engines ignited with blue-white fury. The aliens expected them to attack. Instead, the human fleet moved between the Harvester and the Dominion armada. A wall of steel. A wall of silence. Then the Harvester spoke. Its transmission wasn't received through communication systems. It appeared directly inside every ship. Every alien heard the same voice. Humanity. Mercer stepped toward the command console. The voice continued. You have delayed US for 387 years. The Dominion commander stared at Mercer. 387 years. Mercer didn't answer. The Harvester's enormous shell began opening. Thousands of glowing structures appeared inside it. Weapons. Millions of them. The Dominion fleet finally understood why humanity had built Project HFY. But they understood something even worse. The humans hadn't been preparing to win. They had been preparing to buy time. And now the harvester had arrived early. Mercer looked at the fleet. Activate Phase 2. Deep inside Vesper 9, something even larger began waking up. The moment Admiral Mercer said, "Activate Phase 2, every human warship went dark." The Dominion commander stared at the battlefield. Thousands of human ships had disappeared from his sensors. Not destroyed. Not retreating. Simply gone. Where did they go? No one answered. Then Vesper 9 began to move. The dead star rotated. Slowly at first. Then faster. Its black surface cracked open in enormous geometric patterns, revealing a structure hidden beneath centuries of stellar debris. The Dominion fleet backed away. "What is that?" someone whispered. Mercer watched from the bridge of the Eternity's Aegis. "That," he said, "is why we needed a dead star." Deep beneath Vesper 9, colossal rings began turning. Each ring was larger than a planet. Ancient human machines awakened one after another, drawing gravitational energy from the star's collapsing core. The harvester noticed. Its millions of weapons turned toward Vesper 9. For the first time, its voice sounded different. Almost angry. "Humans. Disable the gate." Mercer smiled faintly. "No." The harvester fired. Space itself seemed to ignite. Millions of black energy beams crossed the battlefield. Dominion commanders ordered their fleets to scatter. The human ships remained still. Then the rings beneath Vesper 9 activated. A gigantic gravitational wave exploded outward. The incoming weapons bent. They curved around the human fleet like streams of light flowing around an invisible mountain. The Dominion fleet watched in disbelief. Humanity wasn't blocking the harvester's weapons. It was bending space around them. But the harvester adapted instantly. Its outer shell split open. Hundreds of enormous vessels emerged. Each one was larger than a Dominion battleship. The alien commander finally understood the scale of the enemy. "There are too many." Mercer looked at the tactical display. "No." The officer beside him turned. "What?" Mercer's eyes remained fixed on the approaching fleet. "There are exactly as many as we expected." The Dominion commander heard the transmission. "You knew?" Mercer answered. "We've been counting them for 387 years." The human fleet suddenly reappeared. Not around Vesper 9. Behind the harvester. Thousands of ships emerged from portals created by the dead star's gravitational network. Their weapons charged simultaneously. The Dominion fleet watched as humanity launched its first attack. But the harvester didn't defend itself. Instead, it opened a massive chamber in its center. Inside was a star. A real star. Still burning. Still alive. The Dominion commander stared in horror. The harvester had been carrying captured stars inside its body. And now it began feeding one directly into its core. The entire battlefield shook. Mercer's expression finally changed. "That's impossible." His science officer looked at the readings. "Admiral." The officer's voice trembled. "The harvester isn't here to invade the galaxy." Mercer turned. "What is it here for?" The officer swallowed. "It found something." Suddenly, every human ship received the same coordinates. Not Earth. Not Vesper 9. A location deep beneath the galactic core. Then the harvester spoke again. "We have come for what your species hides there." Mercer slowly looked at the map. For the first time, he understood. The dead star wasn't humanity's greatest secret. It was only the lock. For several seconds, nobody aboard the Eternity's Aegis spoke. The coordinates hovered above the command table. Deep beneath the galactic core. A place humanity had never mapped publicly. A place that didn't officially exist. The Dominion commander demanded an explanation. "Mercer. What is hidden there?" Mercer ignored him. His eyes remained fixed on the coordinates. Then an old warning appeared on every human console. Project HFY, final lock. The bridge went silent. The warning had not appeared in 387 years. Mercer slowly placed his hand against the command panel. "Open Archive 0. The screen flickered. A recording appeared. An ancient human astronaut stood inside a dark underground facility. Behind her was a massive metallic door covered in symbols. Her face was frightened. If you're seeing this, she said, then the harvester has found the core. The recording continued. We thought the thing inside was dead. The astronaut looked toward the sealed door. We were wrong. The Dominion commander heard every word. What is behind that door? Mercer finally answered. Something the galaxy has never seen. The harvester suddenly attacked. Its fleet surged forward. Human warships fired simultaneously. Space erupted into blue-white explosions. Dominion ships joined the battle. For the first time, humans and aliens fought together. But the harvester was stronger. One human battleship vanished beneath a wave of black energy. Another exploded. Then another. The Dominion commander watched the losses mounting. We can't stop them. Mercer looked at the tactical display. We don't have to. He ordered the human fleet to retreat toward Vesper 9. The Dominion commander thought he had lost his mind. You're retreating. Mercer answered. Exactly. The harvester followed. That was the plan. One by one, the human ships disappeared into the gravitational corridors surrounding the dead star. The harvester entered after them. Then the trap closed. Vesper 9 suddenly collapsed inward. The star's gravitational field expanded like an invisible cage. Thousands of harvester vessels were trapped. The Dominion fleet escaped just in time. The alien commander watched the dead star compress into a tiny black sphere. Did humanity just destroy its own fleet? Mercer didn't answer. Because his flagship had already emerged somewhere else. Far beyond Vesper 9. And behind it came thousands of human ships. Every vessel was damaged. Every ship had lost crew. But they were alive. The Dominion commander stared. How? Mercer looked toward the galactic core. We weren't trying to destroy the harvester. He paused. We were trying to make it follow us. Then the stars around the galactic core began trembling. Something enormous had awakened. The harvester suddenly transmitted one final message. You should never have opened the core. Mercer's face went pale. A Dominion officer whispered. What did humanity hide down there? Mercer looked toward the darkness. The reason the harvester was afraid to enter our galaxy. Then the galactic core opened. And something ancient began to emerge. The galactic core opened like an enormous eye. For the first time in recorded history, every star within 1,000 light-years flickered simultaneously. Then something emerged. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't a creature. It was a structure so enormous that entire planets looked like dust beside it. Ancient rings surrounded a black central sphere, each ring covered in glowing symbols older than every known civilization. The Dominion commander stared at the impossible object. What is that? Admiral Mercer didn't answer. He was staring at the oldest symbol on the structure. Human scientists had discovered it 387 years ago. They had spent centuries trying to understand it. Now they finally knew what it meant. Prison. Mercer's voice became barely audible. We were wrong. The Dominion commander turned toward him. About what? We thought the harvester was hunting something. Mercer looked at the colossal structure. It was running from it. Suddenly, the harvester fleet stopped attacking. Every black vessel turned toward the newly opened core. For the first time since entering the galaxy, the harvester began retreating. The Dominion commander couldn't believe it. It's afraid. Mercer nodded. Yes. Then the ancient structure spoke. Not through radio. Not through sound. Every mind across the battlefield heard the same voice. Who opened the door? Thousands of alien ships lost power. Human crews collapsed against their consoles. Even the harvester stopped moving. Mercer stood frozen. A Dominion officer whispered. What did we just release? The answer came from the structure. The last war. The black sphere at its center opened. Inside was a tiny blue light. Earth's color. Mercer suddenly realized what humanity's ancestors had discovered all those centuries ago. The structure wasn't an ancient weapon. It was a vault. And humanity had unknowingly been protecting its entrance. The dead stars. The hidden fleet. Project HFY. Everything had been connected. The harvester wasn't trying to conquer the Milky Way. It had been trying to reach the vault before humanity could accidentally open it. Mercer looked at the Dominion commander. We've been fighting the wrong enemy. Before the alien could respond, the vault released a wave of energy. Every human ship received the same coordinates. A single location. Earth. Then a second message appeared. Return the key. Mercer's blood ran cold. What key? His science officer slowly looked at him. Admiral. The officer pointed toward the Eternity's aegis. The ship's central reactor had begun glowing. Inside it was an object humanity had carried for centuries without understanding its purpose. A small black sphere. The same shape as the object inside the vault. Mercer stared at it. The harvester transmitted one final warning. If the humans return the key, the vault will close. A pause. If they do not. The galactic core shook violently. The galaxy will become the next prison. Mercer looked at Earth. Then at the terrified alien fleet. Finally, he gave the order. Prepare every human ship. The Dominion commander asked. For war. Mercer shook his head. For the choice humanity hoped it would never have to make. Behind them, the vault began opening wider. The black sphere inside the Eternity's aegis began floating above the reactor. No cables. No machinery. It simply hovered. Every human sensor failed the moment it activated. Then every screen displayed the same message. Return the key. Admiral Mercer stared at the words. How long? His science officer checked the readings. 23 minutes before the vault fully opens. Mercer looked toward the tactical display. The galaxy was changing. Stars around the core were bending toward the ancient structure. Planets were losing their orbits. Even the harvester fleet was retreating at maximum speed. For the first time, humanity saw the creature that had terrified civilizations across millions of years trying to escape. The Dominion commander finally understood. Your fleet wasn't built to defeat the harvester. Mercer shook his head. No. You built it to protect the vault. Mercer looked at the dead star on the tactical display. We didn't even know what we were protecting. Suddenly, the harvester turned. Its enormous fleet stopped retreating. Every vessel rotated toward Earth. The Dominion commander panicked. It's attacking. Mercer watched the incoming formation. No. He zoomed in. The harvester wasn't targeting Earth. It was targeting the human fleet. Thousands of black vessels surrounded the human ships but didn't fire. Then the harvester transmitted. Humans. Give us the key. Mercer answered. Why? Silence. Then the harvester finally revealed the truth. Because we were the first species to open the vault. The Dominion bridge fell silent. The harvester continued. We believed the power inside would make us gods. Its voice changed. We became its prisoners. Images appeared across every ship. Galaxies burning. Civilizations disappearing. Millions of worlds consumed. The harvester had not been conquering civilizations. It had been searching for a way to escape the ancient vault's influence. The Dominion commander looked horrified. How many galaxies? The harvester answered. 37. Mercer stared at the recordings. Then he understood the final piece. The harvester hadn't come to Earth because humans were weak. It had come because humanity was the only species that still possessed the key. Mercer looked toward his crew. Can we return it? The science officer hesitated. Yes. Mercer waited. But there's a problem. What? If we return the key, the vault closes. Mercer nodded. And? The officer looked at the galactic map. Everything connected to the vault will be trapped inside. Mercer realized what that meant. The harvester. Its entire fleet. Possibly millions of surviving civilizations trapped in the surrounding systems. The Dominion commander spoke quietly. You could save the galaxy. Mercer looked at him. At the cost of everyone inside. Then Earth appeared on the tactical display. Billions of human lives. Mercer closed his eyes. Humanity had spent 387 years preparing for war. But nobody had prepared them for this. The vault suddenly opened another fraction. A wave of darkness spread across the stars. Then a message appeared. Choose. Mercer opened his eyes. Prepare the fleet. The Dominion commander asked. What are you going to do? Mercer looked toward the black sphere. Something no one has ever tried. He turned toward the helm. Take us inside the vault. The entire bridge froze. Because if the humans entered the vault, there might be no way back. The first human ship crossed the threshold. Then another. Then 1,000. The Dominion fleet watched in silence as the human armada disappeared into the ancient vault. Admiral Mercer stood aboard the Eternity's aegis, staring into a darkness that seemed to have no end. Behind him, the Dominion commander spoke quietly. "Mercer, you may never return." Mercer didn't turn. "We know." The black sphere floated above the reactor. Then it suddenly connected with the vault. The entire structure shook. Across the galaxy, dying stars stopped collapsing. Broken planets stabilized. The Harvester fleet lost power. For the first time in millions of years, the ancient enemy was completely helpless. Then the vault revealed its true purpose. It wasn't a weapon. It was a prison built to contain civilizations that had discovered how to control the fundamental forces of the universe. The Harvester had once been one of them. Humanity was about to become another. Mercer ordered every human ship to deploy its engines. Thousands of warships spread across the enormous interior of the vault. Their engines formed a gigantic gravitational network. The Dominion commander stared at the impossible formation. "What are they doing?" A human scientist answered. "They're not closing the vault. They're rewriting it." The human fleet began transmitting its combined power into the ancient structure. The vault resisted. Ships began disappearing. 1. 10. Hundreds. Mercer watched the casualty counter rise. But he didn't retreat. "Keep going." The Dominion commander finally understood. Humanity wasn't trying to destroy the vault. It was trying to turn the prison into a shield. The Harvester's voice echoed through every ship. "Humans. Stop." Mercer answered. "No." The Harvester warned them. "You will become trapped." Mercer smiled. "Then we'll build a door." The final human engines ignited. The vault screamed. A wave of energy exploded through the galaxy. For one terrifying moment, every star went dark. Then, light returned. Vesper 9 appeared exactly where it had been. The Dominion fleet emerged from hyperspace. Earth was still there. The galactic core was stable. And the Harvester was gone. But the human fleet had vanished. The Dominion commander stared at the empty battlefield. Where are they? Nobody knew. Then a single transmission appeared. Weak. Distorted. But unmistakably human. Mercer's voice. "The door is closed." The Dominion commander stepped toward the console. "Mercer. Where are you?" Static. Then. "We're on the other side." The transmission ended. Years passed. The Galactic Dominion transformed. Former enemies became allies. Human technology was shared freely. The dead star Vesper 9 became a monument. At its center, a single inscription was placed. "We were never hiding from the galaxy. We were protecting it." And every generation learned the truth. The aliens had declared war because they saw a fleet hidden inside a dead star. They saw weapons. They saw conquest. They saw humanity as a threat. But they never asked the simplest question. Why? Deep beyond the sealed vault, the human fleet remained. Not defeated. Not destroyed. Watching. Waiting. And one day, long after the galaxy had forgotten the war, a young alien scientist detected a faint signal coming from beyond the sealed darkness. 3 words. "We're still here." Final HFY moral. Humanity's greatest strength was never its weapons. It was the willingness to stand between danger and those who could not see it coming. The galaxy called humans dangerous because they prepared for war. But humanity had never wanted to conquer the stars. They simply refused to let the darkness reach them. And sometimes, the bravest heroes aren't the ones who win the war. They're the ones who enter the darkness so everyone else can live in the light.